Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Marvel, where authenticity lives and thrives to create a space of growth, healing, and joy. I am your host, Andrea Lawful Sanders, and each day we will cover the topics that are informative and engaging while learning from each other. Good morning to each and every one of you. It is Wednesday, October 29th, 2025. It has been a time in these Wakandan streets. It is 45 degrees outside and mostly cloudy. We have a 40% chance of rain today. I started the show a little early because we have a guest at 6:30 and we have one at 7. And then we have an after party guest who will be talking about the aftermath of Jamaica. Please forgive me if I don't say much about Jamaica right now. I spent a devastating day yesterday to the point where I just stopped in the middle of a parkway and just stood there. And a friend started rubbing my back because I have been in constant contact with folks who are on the island. And the young lady, Winsome James, that I talked to yesterday morning, I completely lost contact with her because she is in Montego Bay, and the eye of the storm exited through exactly where she was. So the devastation is real. And so, I'm going to talk to Michelle Neal this morning at 7:30 to talk about the aftermath of the hurricane and how we can support and help. So I'm going to leave that alone, and I'm going to do my morning motivation really quickly before my first guest gets on. I have been told for years that my eyes can pierce the souls of those who are not doing the right things, and I used to brush folks off because, hear me, I treat everyone I come in contact with well, no exceptions. Well, one evening I saw it happening in a way that made me fully aware like I had never been before. There I was in a room filled with people who were either touching my dress or chatting because a few of my friends were in attendance to support another friend who was being honored. I finally made my way over to the table I was assigned to that was purchased and sat 8 people only to see 10 sitting there, and everyone looked uncomfortable. Sitting and chewing with not a care in the world were 3 people who were not assigned to the table, but in deciding that they wanted to sit together, they took up residence without asking if the seats were available, availed themselves of the salad, bread, etc. And instead of the hostess asking them to move, it was decided to add an 11th chair to a table designated for 8 in order to accommodate the ones who were not moving. I pulled out my table card and asked one question. This is the table I was assigned to, correct? One of my friends tried to offer me her seat. I told her to stay seated and stood there looking at them all. That's all I did. I didn't say anything other than, is this my seat that I'm assigned to? Less than 30 seconds later, one of the 3 mumbled they didn't mean to cause an issue, and all of them left. The remaining people who were properly assigned to the table looked at my face and fell over. Uh-huh. I calmly asked the wait staff to bring fresh platings, etc., to my seat and sat down where I belonged without a hair out of place. There are people who will not give a damn about your rights and privileges and will use theirs to diminish yours. Do not shrink or acquiesce to make them feel justified in their wrongdoings. They will learn if you do not teach them to respect the rights. They will not learn if you do not teach them to respect the rights of others. All of that is self-explanatory. It was was so funny, and interestingly, the person who was are their friends are their friends has since left me alone because we have to treat people well. We have to use our privilege such that it is to be kind and to be grateful and to treat people well no matter where we go. This attitude that we have that everything belongs to us despite what it looks like is not going to wash. It's just not washing. So let me let my first guest in and then we will talk about it. Morning, Bobby Carr. Prayers. Thank you all so much. Whew, thank you all. I can't even talk about it. It's just a lot. It's a lot. Good morning. Good morning. So let me let my first guest in. Oh my goodness. How old are you, sir? If you don't mind my asking.
44.
Your black did not crack. Because I thought you were in your 30s. I thought you were in your 30s. Okay, forgive me. Welcome to Mornings with Marvel. Let me introduce you to the people. Dr. Carl Morris is a computer scientist, educator, and small business owner who is running as a progressive Democrat for Congress in Pennsylvania's 3rd District. You're born in Jamaica. Lord, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Born in Jamaica, and you just brought tears to my eyes. Born in Jamaica and raised through hardship, he came to the United States and eventually completed his bachelor's, master's, and PhD in computer science after working his way through community college and civil service work. For more than a decade, he has served as a professor at Temple University, focusing on technology, problem solving, and access to a community. We are going to talk about, we're going to talk about exactly where the 3rd District is, but welcome to Mornings with Marva. I just looked at my lineup from my producer because I've been focusing on Jamaica, and so I had no idea you were born and raised in the island. Did
Yeah,
not.
yes. It's been thrust into the news.
Yeah.
I've checked in with friends and family. All are doing okay. I'm still trying to reach out to others. You know, some people are experiencing power cuts and what have you, but
Mhm.
everyone I've checked in with so far is safe
Mhm.
and well.
Okay. I am on a mission to interview people who are running for office, particularly for Congress.
Sure.
Um, and so I have my producer reaching out to folks, and it's whether you're a Democrat or Republican, right? I want to give this platform so that people can know who you are, why you're running for office, etc. So, can you share how your early life experience shaped your decision to run for Congress, and tell us where the 3rd congressional district is, please, in Pennsylvania?
Absolutely. Well, I'll take the last question first. So the 3rd district can be thought of easily as everything west of Broad. So that is everything from Chestnut Hill all the way down to South Philadelphia. So that's Southwest Philly, Manayunk, Nicetown, uh, Germantown, you name it, Mount Airy, which is actually where I am. I'm in Cedarbrook, Mount Airy East area.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, that entire area, Strawberry Mansion, all of those neighborhoods, if you're west of Broad or in South Philadelphia, you're in the 3rd district.
Okay, thank you.
So in terms of what sort of led me here, as you mentioned a bit earlier, um, I faced a lot of challenges, to sort of get where I am today, and a lot of why I ended up where I am is, I've made some good decisions, some lucky decisions, not knowing where the road would take you necessarily, but I was able to sort of, through education, for the most part, sort of chart a new course for my life. And it's brought me to where I can now, today I'm an educator trying to help people because I recognize the value of education and I'm trying to
Mhm.
impart that. But I also recognize that sometimes people are in circumstances where it's not enough to say, hey, you need to make the right decisions. It's not enough to say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We do, from time to time, need to provide some help, some assistance to people who are facing challenges. And it's not enough to say, well, we should rely on the kindness of strangers. People are kind, people are good, but people have their own lives and their own challenges they're trying to address. At the end of the day, it is the government's job to make sure that the citizens of a country are safe and secure and healthy. And the ways that we do that are to ensure that certain basic commodities are provided for, certain basic services are provided for. And far too often, governments seem to either lose sight of that or their priorities are all skewed. So, why am I running for Congress? I'm running for Congress because I recognize that sometimes people need help. The
Mhm.
government needs to provide a basic level of
Mhm.
services to its citizens.
Mhm.
I don't believe Congress is focused on that or recognizes that. And I'm running to try to do what I can to change that.
Wow. So I have to tell you, I'm not sure how many people knew you were running for Congress because the field is crowded. So I'm grateful for us to get to know you and what you are about. What specific problem solving mindset do you bring that distinguishes you from the typical candidate?
Okay, so thanks for that question. So I am a computer scientist, a professor at Temple, but I study computer science. And when people hear computer science, they tend to think, understandably but incorrectly, that it is about tech and IT, when it isn't that at all. Computer science, at its core, is the field of problem solving. And it doesn't matter what the problem is. If it is a problem that can be solved through human
Mhm.
intervention, computer
Mhm.
science is about determining what that solution can look like. So
Mhm.
the steps involved are looking at the problem and breaking it down to its component parts,
Mhm.
and then identifying steps to solve that problem, recognizing what is required based on how the problem is constituted, what the environment looks like, and what the impact of each of these steps would be. So it's looking at intended and unintended consequences. So at its core, computer science is about computational thinking, which is how do you, in a stepwise fashion, solve the problem that's in front of you? And whether that problem is how do you address an eroding democracy of a lawless president, all the way up to how do you address issues relating to the fallout in the job market that will be caused by AI. These are the type of things where my formal training for over 20 years can actually be an asset. That's what sets me apart from the other candidates in this field.
Mhm.
I am about solving problems.
Right. Wow. Okay. Let's ask some follow-up questions after I ask you these.
Sure.
You're running for Pennsylvania's 3rd congressional district, covering parts of Philadelphia. In a super crowded field of Democrats, what's your strategy for standing out and earning voters' trust?
So, so my strategy is about being authentic. It's about leaning into who I am, my identity, my skill sets. And again, as I mentioned before, that is by and large, I'm a serious problem solver. I take a look at what's in front of me, recognize the scope, and I'm always trying to fix the problem that is presented. And you can tell the difference between me and many of the other candidates. If you were to right now, on this date, go look at the websites for the Harrisburg politicians who are running for Congress. You'll
Mhm.
see pictures and you'll see a big donate button, but not much
Mhm.
else.
Mhm.
Because they're not even pretending to have solutions. They're not even pretending to know what they're going to Congress to do. They just want a promotion because, as a politician, that's what you do, right? You get
Mhm.
promoted to the next office. Go to my website. Just Google Carl for Congress or go to carlforcongress.us. You will see an issues tab. And when you click on that tab, not only will you see a bulleted list of some of the issues that I want to address, but you'll see a breakdown, exactly how I see the problem and exactly how we should approach it.
Mhm.
Because again, I am serious about problem solving. I am not trying to pretend to be some affable, likable, oh, I'm gonna running around and taking pictures with everyone. No, I am saying I am running because I do problem solving. Here's how I want to address these things. I have mechanisms for folks to reach out to me to discuss some of these challenges and bring new things to my attention. That's how I'm going to set myself apart, by being serious about how we go about solving the problems that are facing this country.
Mm, okay. Now, if you've decided to run for Congress, then you are aware of the Philadelphia politics
Mhm.
and how it is decided that who will be the next person. Is it Carl, Karl,
That is
FOR, Congress?
that is correct. Carl with a K and FOR, carlforcongress.us.
This has always been, oh, here you are. Well, okay then. Oh, well, okay then.
Yeah.
There is,
I'm
there
about
is,
problem solving.
yeah, yeah, I can see. Um, you realize, you recognize, and I have to ask you this question, that there are going to be people who don't take you seriously because they're like, he's not a part of the what they call it,
The
the legacy
establishment.
politics, the
Yes,
establishment politics.
correct.
So how are you going to stand out, like Mandami did? Like how are you going to get your voice heard in a sea of people who are politicians, right?
Correct.
Because as you can see, it's just somebody just wrote very refreshing.
I think that comment kind of sums it up.
Mhm.
Me not being a part of the establishment is an asset.
Mhm.
If we take a look at the Harrisburg politicians and we try to say, okay, what have they been doing to help my life, to make my life better? We are 6 months overdue with a budget. SEPTA, buses and trains, those things have been around for 200 years.
Mhm.
They've kicked the can down the road. They couldn't figure out how to do funding for our public transit system. And right now, it seems like each of those politicians are trying to get out of Dodge. They're trying to get out of Harrisburg before the bill comes due in 2 years. They've not been able to solve these challenges. How are they going to solve issues relating to self-driving cars? How are they going to solve issues relating to AI in healthcare, or how it's going to disrupt the job market, or as we saw recently, artificial intelligence contracts being issued for the Pentagon. So now we're going to have AI in warfare. How are
Mhm.
you going to provide oversight and a check on the executive for these complicated issues if you couldn't fix the bus? So my not being a part of the establishment, my not being a politician, but instead being a problem solver works to my advantage.
Mhm.
My challenge is to get my message out there. And
Mhm.
that's why I'm thankful for opportunities like this one that allows
Mhm.
me to speak directly to voters because,
Mhm.
yes, Philadelphia has a way that it does things, a way that it has always does, a way that it does things. And a lot of folks have accepted it because ultimately they don't oftentimes hear new messages from new candidates who want to
Yes.
do something different.
Mhm.
That's what I represent. So again, my goal is speak to voters. I've spoken to thousands of voters face to face over the last few weeks and months, and I continue to do that and ramp that up as we get closer and closer to the 2026 midterms. So
Okay.
I'll be out in the streets. If you see me anywhere, please come right up to me. Go to my
Mhm.
website, find me on social media. That's Carl Morris PA on all the platforms. And
Mhm.
that's again, Carl with a K.
Mhm.
And my strategy is speak to voters. I believe that once they hear my message, once they hear what the things are that I want to champion, I believe they'll realize this is a better option than the establishment.
Mhm. You are would be considered a dark horse in this race. You would be in your if should you prevail, because we're watching what's happening around the country. People are just tired of the same old stuff
Yeah,
over and over again, and we're seeing more progressive candidates. Who call themselves progressive Democrat candidates that are showing up, and the people are responding to it.
right,
Should you prevail, what would your first 100 days look like? Because Pennsylvania is Pennsylvania is an important state at the federal level in terms of elections.
yeah,
Uh, Pennsylvania has been a wheel cogged with all kinds of foolishness for God knows how long. I had State Rep Darisha Parker on, and she is fussing that nothing is moving, and she is considered a dark horse because people think that she's just trying too hard and just shut up and take your pictures and smile and move along. How are
right,
you going to change the system slowly? What would your first 100 days look like? Because you're still one person
right.
in a sea of people who will be serving with you.
Right. So you're identifying the challenge, I think, correctly. And there's the what do you do in the first 100 days, and then what do you do
Mhm,
slowly to try to change the system. I
mhm,
think broadly speaking, to take the last piece first, I think broadly speaking, you are correct. One person will always face challenges when they're trying to bring change.
mm,
But I think the way you do it is first you try to build coalitions.
mhm,
I believe that we should have a new slate of representatives across the country who recognize the
mhm,
scope and challenges of this new world that we're entering.
mhm,
But ultimately, it boils down to building coalitions, building consensus. And I believe that the challenges that I want to take on, the things that are facing society right now, are the type of things that we can get people behind, whether you're Democratic, Republican, or Independent. These
mhm,
are things that will affect the constituents of all representatives. So I want to bring people on board to start to move the needle on some of these
mhm,
major challenges.
mhm,
My major field of study and research is artificial intelligence. I've been doing that for about 15 years. That's my doctoral
mm,
research, and it's what I do right now. And I recognize how AI is going to impact the job market, as I mentioned, how it's going to impact health insurance and healthcare, how it's going to impact the environment when data centers and power plants start to be built in communities, Black and Brown communities,
mhm,
people lower on the socioeconomic ladder.
mhm,
These are challenges that need to be addressed. There needs to be legislation and oversight. When the government starts to use AI to do certain services, are we concerned with bias being in these AI models and how they may impact, again, marginalized groups?
Mhm.
These are the type of challenges that everyone can recognize is going to impact their constituents. And we can build
Mhm.
coalitions around these and start to write legislation and move the needle forward.
Mhm.
In the first 100 days, however, there are certain low hanging fruits that we can go for. When you see, for instance, how this administration is attacking the citizens of this country, the constitution of this country, those are the type of things we can start to put a stopgap in place immediately. We can do things like,
So why has it not happened? Forgive me, Dr. Morris.
sure,
Why has it not happened? What has been going on in government? If you're doing the research and you're seeing all this happening around you,
right,
what is happening? What accommodations, what compromises are being put in place that puts us at risk? Because, for instance, I walked into a Walmart to get one thing that I thought was $9.99, and the cashiers were in there complaining that their hours had been slashed, and they're recognizing that they will not have a job soon. Amazon is laying off thousands of people because they're now using AI. UPS doing the same. You see where this is going? People are
yes,
really becoming desperate out here, and you are the first person that I have heard literally cognitively having a discussion about the impacts have already begun.
right,
It will have on us as a citizenry. Good God.
right.
Good God.
So the simple answer to your question is the folks in Congress, as well as the other candidates running for this seat, frankly, do not understand the technology. It's complicated. They don't understand it well enough, and therefore they don't want to speak about it because they don't want to put their foot in their mouths. That's what it boils down to. But my work in artificial intelligence for 15 years allows me to speak about it. I can talk about it because I've studied how technology impacts communities, how it impacts individuals, and how your characteristics, where you are, or your zip code impact the access that you might have, as well as how you might either benefit or be exploited. So this is my field. This is my area. So
Sir, you're
yeah,
too smart for your
Amazon.
own good. Listen, you are too smart for your own. I'm telling you, you're speaking to things that those of us who have been having these kinds of conversation understand. Are you prepared for the uphill battle that this will be with people coming? What is your strategy for remaining in the race? Because they're coming. They don't
Yeah.
like smart people.
my,
You know?
my strategy is to appeal to the voters. The same thing I'm doing right now. It
Okay.
doesn't matter what the establishment believes. It doesn't matter what donors believe. If I deliver my message to voters and they believe that this is the type of change that they want, at the end of the day, they're the ones entering the voting booth. They're the ones that
Right.
are going to figuratively pull the lever. And if they pull it for my name, then they'll send me to Congress, regardless of what the establishment thinks or prefers.
Right.
So my message is clear. Here's what's going to happen. There will be disruption in the job market. We are hearing projections of 50% of white collar jobs will be lost.
Yes.
You just mentioned that Amazon is it was announced yesterday.
Mhm.
They're laying off 14,000
1,000
corporate
people.
jobs, right?
Yes.
White collar
Mhm.
jobs. And as soon as they solve the issues relating to autonomous machines, then you're going to see blue collar jobs, the warehouse jobs, the custodial jobs. Those will be the next ones to go. This is happening. So we have to start having conversations about what the social safety net looks like. We have to have conversations about what worker rights look like. Those are the things that we need to look at, and how we're going to fund the social safety net and strengthen it. That means we need to take a look at taxing wealth. We need to take a look at how we can't tax labor if the labor market starts to shrink. So we
Right.
have to start looking at taxing output and production for these companies that are laying off workers but are seeing an increase in profits. We have to tax billionaires. When you have one man approaching $1 trillion in wealth, yet we have Americans and Philadelphians, people in the third district that are hungry and going to food pantries, that's a problem. But that's a problem we can fix if we're serious. But you won't get there if you send people to Congress, and we keep sending people to Congress who are bought and paid for by the donor class, who are a part of the establishment, and they're only looking out for their own self-interest. Go to my website. You'll see I have a good governance section that speaks to how we can ensure that Congress people are properly incentivized to go to Congress. We don't want them to go there to enrich themselves. We want you to go there because you believe you can actually help solve a problem. And when you've solved that problem, you should be able to walk away. That's why I support things like term limits. I don't need to be a career politician. I recognize that there is a new, fresh challenge that's going to impact society, both in
Mhm.
America and across the world.
Mhm.
I believe I have a special set of skills, as Liam Neeson says, that I can use to address this problem. And when I feel like we're on the right track, I am perfectly fine stepping away from this and going back to academia, doing the job that
Oh,
I
so I
love.
was about to ask you about term limits because folks run for office until they're keeling over in
Oh,
hallways. I love that you have updates, GPT, Philadelphia is unprepared. People, I see you have updates that people can actually read about, and you have the key issues. My God, this is so refreshing, so refreshing to look at. I don't even know what to say. I am going to, when I get off the air, scour your website more in depth to see what you are about now. This is quite an uphill battle, as I said before. And you know, there are people out there endorsing other people and unions and all this other stuff, the usual stuff that's going on.
yep.
Should you not prevail, how will you continue to help and support? What would you join one of these politicians to help them? What would you do should you not prevail? And I know you're Jamaican, so I already know you're not thinking about not prevailing. I get that part.
We're,
But
we're,
I'm asking, what would you do should you not prevail to
yeah,
continue to help the people?
we're always making the plan for winning, what we're going to do the day after we win. But
Mhm,
I'll say this. Whereas I'm not a politician, and entering the political sphere is a new endeavor for me.
mhm,
I'm not new to helping Philadelphians. I've always recognized the systemic challenges that exist in society, and I've always been doing
mhm,
what I can to help. Ever since I was in my teens, and
mhm,
volunteering to refurbish computers and deliver to schools that didn't have them, or to visit orphanages and bring gifts and supplies, all the way to today, where for the last 11 years I've been volunteering almost weekly at a food mission,
mhm,
or working to provide school supplies, books, and school supplies to students,
mhm,
or the coding workshops that I've been working on and setting up for about 9 years across the
mhm,
city, teaching kids to code to strengthen the pipeline for Black and Brown folks to enter STEM and to enter this field.
mhm,
That's not something that will ever stop. I'm always going to help my community, whether I'm doing it from Congress or I'm doing it from right where I'm sitting now in my home.
mhm,
So that will continue. And I will always try to be a resource for those folks that want the information that I have, and I'll help in whatever way I can. I think I can be most effective in doing so in Congress. You don't want to just be another voice in a politician's ear, because those politicians will also have lobbyists in their ear, and they'll have donors in their ear.
mhm.
And at the end of the day, my advice comes for free, but their request comes with a check. And if you're trying to determine which direction they're going to go, you think about it for 2 seconds.
Mhm.
So yes, you have to be sort of have contingencies in place, like what do you want to do. But I will strongly make the case that if we are serious about solving the problems that we all see are coming down the pipe, and I want people to know this is just the tip of the iceberg.
It is.
AI is becoming something that is going to have this outsized impact on every aspect of our lives. My 15 years of experience in this space is what is actually needed in Congress right now. So I want people to realize that these challenges are real. It's not enough to just say, well, we know this politician or that politician, they've been in Harrisburg for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, or they're a part of the establishment and they're seasoned. Like, no, what we actually need are citizen legislators who can bring
Mhm,
their skills, their life experiences, their knowledge to bear on the challenges that we have. So the question I will put to Philadelphians and folks in the third district is, do you want the politician or do you want the problem solver?
Let me tell you what Andrea Robin Manley just said. Run down that algorithm, speak, sir. Make it plain. Every problem has a solution, yes. And too often, for far too long, we've believed as citizens that nothing can be solved. I've heard them. I've been on this airwave now for years. Whew. Wow, this year's 10 years. And have been,
Congratulations.
thank you, and have been listening um, through those various platforms where I have been on the air to people say nothing can change. It's the same old stuff, the same old people. And I have to tell you, you are nothing that I expected. You are a refreshing voice in this conversation, and I cannot wait to hear, because people are now responding to my producer, because we're asking if you don't see a certain politician or politicians on the air, it's not because they were not invited. I want you to be aware. So this platform is being given to those who respond, so we can create the space for them to speak about what their platform is. Now, with the 4 minutes we have left, tell them how they can reach out to you and how they can donate.
So thank you very much. So again, just the easiest way to get to me is my website, carl4congress.us, or just Google me. And that's Carl with a K and 4FOR. I'm not cool enough to use the number. You can also reach me on social media. So that's Carl Morris, KarlMorrisPA. That's on Instagram. That's on Facebook. That's on Blue Sky. If anyone uses Blue Sky, I'm not on Twitter. I closed my account when Elon Musk bought it.
Me too.
Yeah, so you'll have to find me you'll have to find me on the other platforms.
Yes.
And if you go to my website, or even if you go to Instagram, you'll find links to donate there. As much as we're running this outsider campaign, we recognize we're not necessarily going to have the unions and all of these other institutions that have pre-existing relationships with the politicians and with the establishment. But we do have bills. There are things that we do need to do to get folks out on the streets to get supplies. So whatever folks can donate, we would certainly appreciate it. But regardless, we would like your support. We hope you'll hear the message, spread the message, and let folks know that it's not the establishment, it's not the party that determines who gets sent to Congress. It's you, the voter. And you can decide what it is that you want for your lives, for your family, for your friends in your neighborhood. I think I offer a unique perspective and a specific set of skills that can address some of these challenges that are coming ahead of us. And I hope I can get your support.
Dr. Carl Morris, computer scientist, educator, and small business owner. Thank you, sir, for joining us. You are the first person that we have on the air that's running for the Congressional 3rd District in Pennsylvania. We wish you well. For those of you who want to go and visit his website, I just looked. I'm telling you, it is refreshing. Carl for Congress, FOR, KARLFOR for Congress. He's addressing the issues. He's giving you the stories. He's letting you see the articles so that you're not just voting for somebody sight unseen. Go ahead and check him out. I'm sure your competitors will now go ahead and check you out after this conversation.
I hope they do.
Yeah, but we appreciate your being here with us today. Joy Andrea says Dr. Carl brings a voice to the conversation we didn't realize we needed and never knew we would hear. Thank you for this conversation. Shaquilla says everyone should be tired of the same old BS politicians. Right person, right time. This is the first time they've been introduced to you, by the way. I didn't even know you existed. Let me be clear.
I'm an academic. I've been in my lab. I've been in the classroom.
But that's the way you were raised too, to do your work, and the work will speak for you. So you've been doing your work. Laura says you're a force to be dealt with and a great interview. She also wants to know, Alexandra wants to know, are you on fan base? Great candidate for our younger voters. We'll show this interview to a young man I know who isn't interested in politics. So you just piqued the interest of my folks, and I'm
happy to hear it.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful day, and we wish you well. And please stay aware that I will call upon you again as we get closer to the time to be interviewed again. Okay?
You know how to find me.
I do. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Oh, my goodness. All right, guys. As he logs out, and my next guest is here, as he logs out, we will, and I see that you all are talking about this. I'm grateful to all of you. Thank you so much for, getting up a little bit earlier. It's now 7. I'm about to switch spaces and bring a lawyer in to talk about something that we have not been really fully addressing. And so we're getting ready to have that dialogue. But I'm grateful that you all saw and you appreciated what you did see. Let's go. Next subject matter, please. This show, Tria said he's a breath of fresh air. This platform, I'm telling you, I'm not playing games. We listen, if I invite you to come on here, please know. We appreciate you. Let's see. Let me introduce my next guest, Rhonda Anderson Esquire. Rhonda, I'm operating on 3 hours worth of sleep.
Oh no!
Just bear with me. Oh, the night before it was 2, so we're getting better. I got one more hour.
There should be rest with mother. Rest with mother.
Where's the marble? I'm trying to tell you. Rhonda Anderson is the founder of Anderson Law Group, a woman-owned, client-centered firm with a passion for achieving high-impact, long-term rewards for our clients while also providing resources to strengthen their community. We're going to talk today about an wills. We're going to talk about how do you start a will, open a, what do you call that? Debate, rebate. What do you call that?
Probate.
Probate. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Open a probate when someone dies in the family, and you're probably going to get a lot of questions. Now, before we get started, Rhonda, how is your heart? Because as a lawyer,
Yeah.
this country, all the
Yeah.
things that are going on, I just truly want to make sure that your heart is okay because uh, the prime ministers across the Caribbean islands are talking about warships from these here United States surrounding
Yeah.
our little countries. And we're trying to figure out why this is happening. We are talking about the SNAP benefits. People are dropping dead of heart attacks and strokes from stress. Your job cannot be an easy one at this point. So
No.
before we get into probates and wills and all of that, how is your heart?
I appreciate that. It's tough because besides being a practitioner, I'm an empath, right? So there's something about your feelings, me trying to help you, that fall on me. And any good, practitioner should have those same feelings. So I will have to say these last couple of weeks I've been under the most honest stress and anxiety, right? Um,
Yeah.
because what happens is, we're problem solvers, which, and a lot of problems we're solving could have been prevented.
Mm.
So it's tough for everybody, so be kind to your lawyer, be kind to your doctor.
Yep.
We feel it too. We're trying
Yeah.
our best to
Be
feel it.
kind to your
But in
journalism
that,
people.
correct, right. But in that, also know, I think this is the perfect opportunity for us to make change and to pivot. So I see that. I really, I see a lot of trauma, but I think it also opens the doors for us. And if you're a believer, it opens the doors for you to have some faith that this is the opportunity for all of us to not just come out, but to thrive in this. So that's also my belief.
Agreed. Bear with me because again, Jamaica has been on my mind for the last few
Understood.
days, and it's been terrible.
How are your people? And how are you?
They're hanging in there. Some
Okay.
folks I have not been able to reach, which concerns me.
Okay.
But my sister has been in constant contact. She's the one that has me up that I can't sleep for more than 3 hours because she's consistently sharing with us what's going on, the wind shear, the rain, folks where she lives in the middle of the country in Mandeville, where they're up in the mountains. Some houses, the landslides and the water, some houses are covered to their roofs, darling, to their roof. And I'm talking about mansion-sized houses, beautiful houses.
Of
So,
course.
it's been a lot. It's been a lot.
Okay.
So thank you for asking. Now I need to pivot because we have 25 minutes. I love this platform because I get to talk and make sure
That's
you all
great.
get heard and without commercials and all that other stuff. So thank you for your support, for the things that you do to make sure that we can stay here. Um, let's talk. Our parents are getting older.
Correct.
Many of
We're
us are a
getting
part of the sandwich generation. I got one, stubborn as hell. I had to threaten him and tell him we're gonna let the government come and take all your ish. And that's how he got the will. And 4 weeks after he got the will done and ratified, my mother got sick and died 6 weeks later.
mm, mm,
So let's talk about
mhm.
when is the right time to do a will. How can it be done? What's the best way to do it? And then let's get into when the person passes away, opening up a probate to make sure
Okay.
you're okay.
All right. So first, let's talk about what a will is, right? Because a lot of times it's confused with other terms. People think of living will, a lot of things. So when is the best time? Now is the best time, right? It's if you're over the age of 18, now is the best time. So what the will is, the way I describe it is we are going to leave some instructions. We're going to determine who gets our stuff, who's going to handle that stuff. And then sometimes we have folks in our lives who may have some special needs. So if we have, children who may be receiving benefits, we want to make sure that their stuff is carved out so that it doesn't necessarily affect their benefits. If we have children under a certain age, we want to make sure that they have a trustee, that somebody's going to be specifically named to handle their things. Sometimes we don't want to leave stuff to people. Sometimes we don't. We want to put that in the will. We want to make sure that's recognized, that, you know, Jimmy's going to get $1 or anything. So that's what the will is. We're leaving some instructions, and we're going to name some people. Challenge is if you don't leave instructions, right? Because none of us know the time nor the day, but none of us make it out of here alive.
Right.
It's undefeated. You don't leave instructions. You leave it up to the government to do it. You're not going to be happy sometimes with the decisions that the government makes. I know that's shocking. But the law is the law, and the law is followed. So what happens is, after we pass away, it's called, the next step is typically probate, unless you do a trust, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Probate is when you have to go downtown to your local, you know, courthouse or whatever it is, officially open the estate. Just because you're named in the will does not mean that now all this stuff automatically goes to you. Common misunderstanding is people think, I get a call, I inherited my grandma's house, she had a will. Was the will probated? Was it officially approved by the court to appoint Andrea as the executor to handle the affairs? Because now it's court appointed, which means you got to follow certain rules and regulations as an executor. You can't open up the estate and then just, you know, use the bank account as your personal bank account. So you're certain things you still have to make sure by law we abide by. What the will does is it just gives the person a little more control. Why do we care about that? Besides the fact of leaving your stuff, let's say you die without a will and your next of kin was your brother, right? But you know your brother ain't not good with money. Would you want your brother to be the executor of all of your millions and millions of the lawful Sanders empire? Probably not.
Right.
The law doesn't know or necessarily care. It just goes by a chart of who's next in line. My favorite situations are people who don't have wills and they come from very different blended families. But they don't always tell us. I got a call last week from a senior citizen, lovely woman who had a will, and she needed to make some changes because her daughter died. Her daughter was my age. She was 52, unexpected. Daughter had no will. She had a home, a car, no children, good job, you know, investments, all kind of things. And she had no will. And apparently her father was estranged from her mother. So we'll just say it honestly, her mother and father never were together. It just weren't. On her birth certificate, there's no listing for father. Death certificate, there's no listing for father. Mom tries to go open up the estate. They wrote probate. People say, well, where's dad? I don't know. I ain't seen him in 52 years. Well, they don't take your word for it. They don't know. So now mom is grieving. She's 82. She's trying to handle this estate for her daughter. Can't open up the estate. It's going to take, we're going to have to try to hire a private investigator, prove that he's dead.
You have to pay money to get
more money and agony and time. And she doesn't want to be reminded of what happened 52 years ago. She, you know, but had she shared this with her daughter, I don't even think her daughter knew any of this before she passed away. Hopefully her daughter could have gotten a will that could have resolved all of this. We wouldn't have had to even have this conversation. So it's not just about, you know, I don't want to spend the money for a will. I don't want to deal with it. There are real implications when we don't do it.
Yeah. Wow. So let's talk about opening the probate. Tiffany is on here. She's the one. She's like room hall 180. She said she went in there. People didn't know what they were talking about. Folks who were supposed to help the people didn't know what they were supposed to. She said, "Can you get somebody on here to talk about, you know, this for us again, to remind us again?" So when you go in to open up a probate, what are the steps that should be given to you, the grieving person, from room 180 in City Hall?
Yeah, so they are helpful, but they're not your lawyers. Okay, so let's start with that. They don't give out legal advice. There's a good group of folks down there. They are very helpful, but they're not your lawyer. So you need to go down there with your lawyer, and your lawyer should tee this up and prepare you and let you know. Some of the beauty of having an attorney is you don't even have to go down there. We could do it
Oh,
on
the attorney
Zoom.
can do.
You're
Oh.
represented by an attorney. We could do the whole hearing process by Zoom. Your lawyer
Mhm.
sends all the paperwork down. You don't even have to go to room 180. You don't have to try to find a parking space. But when you attempt to do it on your own, you
Mhm.
don't. It's difficult. It's not that lawyers are just trying to get all your money. We do this for a reason, and then we can identify things. So a lot of times when folks go down there, even if there is a will, they don't know that the will is messed up. They don't know that dad didn't
Oh.
sign on page 9 like he was supposed to. They don't know it's not notarized. They don't know that your sister shouldn't have been a witness. So sometimes we start with, you know, the wrong stuff, and then we get agitated because we get
Mhm.
turned away. Hire an attorney who could say to
Mhm.
you, hey, we got to fix that. Oh, we got to deal with that. Hey, where's such and such? Um, so I'm just an advocate for, especially during this time, you're not thinking about any of this. You should be in your place of grieving, of
Mhm.
handling, of dealing with what you have to deal with, and
Mhm.
leave this to people who do this every day.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you are, but if you try to go down there on your own,
Mhm.
just pack some patience.
Let me ask you this question. How many days or weeks do you have from the death of a person and their burial to opening a probate?
So you technically should do it relatively soon, because you need to close out bank accounts, you need to notify creditors, you need to pay bills. So there really is no benefit to waiting. You If there's going to be a challenge to the will, here's the other issue. You want to make sure that you kind of start the process, because if not, now somebody else may be directing it. Even if you don't go down and open up probate, there's a very important thing. In Pennsylvania, there's something called inheritance taxes,
Mhm.
right? Inheritance taxes are taxes that are owed on the value of the estate. There's
Mhm.
different tiers. So if you're a child, it's like 4.5%. Spouses,
Mhm.
it's 0. Even if you don't open up the estate, even if you don't feel like getting on the subway and going downtown, just you don't feel like it, 9 months from the date of death, those taxes are due. I
Wait.
get all the time people say, "Well, I didn't know," or I didn't open up the estate." 9 months from the date of death. It matters not. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you open up the estate or not. So in the theory, you should do it before 9 months. What happens after 9 months? Interest and penalties accrue. If you don't pay, liens are placed on houses. If there's Medicaid owed, liens are, don't wait. There's no
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
benefit, honestly. It's a lot of times to
Yeah.
waiting, but more importantly, um, talk to an attorney, because sometimes you don't need to open up the estate. Like, attorneys could go through it with you and say, well, what did she have? Maybe we
Right.
wait. But without that knowledge, the inheritance tax thing always gets people. They're just like, well, I
Yeah.
didn't know. Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Marguerite said I attempted to do things on my own and it frustrated me still dealing with
And
that
Marguerite
stuff.
is a smartie. She is like the event
Mm.
plan. Like, Marguerite does everything, but in that situation, she shouldn't have to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
She shouldn't have to.
Tiffany says have to get the right attorney. Some of the attorneys were the ones not knowing what to do.
Point.
Whoo.
Good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, Erica, let me tell you something. You sit on this platform, you're going to learn all sorts of things. She said, I just did not know this. I've been talking about this with you guys for how many times have I had you on the air with me on a different platform?
Monthly,
We have
monthly. Oh
monthly. So we
yeah,
got to go
yes,
back to monthly, Rhonda,
absolutely,
because folks just don't
absolutely.
know. Now, this question was asked, and I know the answer, but I'm going to let you do it. Is there any way you can avoid the inheritance tax?
My favorite question. Yes,
Shut
yes,
up.
yes,
I thought it
and it
was no.
depends. Yes, and it depends. My favorite answer. Lawyers are always going to tell you it depends. So how do we minimize or avoid? We're not trying to be tax avoiders, but I like to think of minimizing
Mm-hmm.
our inheritance tax. So how do we do it?
Mm-hmm.
So you could have joint bank accounts. Joint bank accounts reduce, right? Because you're only going to be taxed on half of the value of the account, right? What you
Mm-hmm.
inherited. You could have property. Let's say we have real estate. If
Mm-hmm.
you and I buy a house together and we are joint tenants, the language is very important. The
Mm-hmm.
language is very important. If we're joint tenants, then again, only maybe half of the property, the value, is going to be
Mm-hmm.
taxed.
Okay,
If we put
understood.
our money in a trust, it has to be a specific trust called an irrevocable trust, meaning you don't have control of it. It's very restrictive. If it's in that type of vehicle, meaning we transfer our property, we transfer our bank accounts, we transfer our houses, all our assets into this trust in Pennsylvania, as long as it's over 1 year, meaning you got to make it 1 year and a day after you make these transfers, it's not subject to inheritance taxes. Why? Because you, the person, didn't own that stuff. It's
a trust.
Inherit, the trust owns it. So yes, there are ways you can minimize. You could gift early, gift out property. So you can minimize and avoid. But let me just, now here's a plug. You can't do this on your own. TikTok cannot help you. I don't care what they tell you. And I love TikTok. There's so many nice little recipes and dances on there. You've got to have somebody experienced in this area to do it, because I see so many trusts that are done and people just, they go to Sister Susie Orman, and Sister Susie tells you this is the best way to do it, evangelist. And they do it wrong. So guess what? You spend all that money, it's done improperly, and you still got to pay taxes. So the answer is yes.
Okay, so okay, you're gonna have to come back on. Because baby, we are not ever going to get through all these questions until at 7:30. Marguerite says, I started the probate process because my husband's bank account was frozen because he did not have a POD designated.
Correct. So here's the thing. If Marguerite, to the point, if you're not on the bank account as joint, so if you're joint, then technically, you put in $1, I put in 50, doesn't matter. I have access. If your POD was called payable on death, meaning the person you go to the bank today, you don't need a lawyer for this. You go to the bank and say, I want Andrea to be POD, payable on death, on my account. Andrea doesn't have any access to my bank account while I'm around. She doesn't know how much it is. Even when she goes to the bank, they can't tell her what's in there. They don't give her access. As soon as the person passes away, Andrea takes my death certificate to the bank. Voila! She has access.
You get access.
Right? At least you have the access. But without either joint or access, a lot of times it's not yours. So the bank, as soon as the bank finds out, and the bank finds out a lot of times before you find out that the person has died. Social Security finds out, they freeze. So now if you need money for burial, there's a little secret to that. If you're a spouse or a child and you've paid for the funeral, you could take your paid funeral bill, death certificate to the bank. Bank should release some of the money to you. They're not going to tell you that, but I told you. So there's ways. But Marguerite's 100% right. If you don't have access to it.
Okay, someone, I think it's Janelle. When our mother passed, Rhonda Anderson helped us handle her affairs. Mom had no will. That was over 20 years ago. When I say she is worth her weight in gold, I mean it. That's my baby girl, so I know she's telling you the truth.
That was 20 years ago. Janelle's only 20. No, oh my gosh, that was
people do not get the trust because they think they can't afford it. What is the cost of an average trust?
So I would say a good trust is going to start at $5,000. A good one. If you're going to pay less than that, I'm a little suspect about it, because there's a lot of moving parts. It's not just creating a document. We got to move stuff, right? We got to fund it. We have to make sure you have to administer it. It has its own own tax ID number, social security number sometimes. So it's not an inexpensive move, but it can save on the back end. So I think about folks who went to Jamaica this week, and they still spending money. If they're there and hanging out.
And really, a mediocre vacation can cost $3,000 to $5,000. Let's talk about it.
Just to get home.
Easily.
Right. I mean, so now you got to spend all this money just to. So, and the thing about it is that most, if not all, there's payment options. There's and one of the things I always explain to people is, if the trust is something you're considering, let's look at if you don't do it. So. One of the things we didn't talk about is, folks need to go into a nursing home and they don't have long-term care insurance, and they don't have a lot of money in the bank to pay for it. Some good nursing homes are not even the Cadillac BMW nursing homes could run like $5,000-$6,000 a month.
No, ma'am. No. Because I have a friend who's dealing with that now. It's $9,000-$10,000.
Absolutely.
And that's the basic nursing home. And so what they do is they say, you own a home? All right, don't worry about it. We'll take care of you. You
No.
know, go on. We got you. You die, snatch.
Here's a letter.
People
We're
don't
so
realize
sorry.
that, right?
Guess what? We're so sorry mom passed away. Here's a detailed letter of every Tylenol we gave her, and now you owe us $400,000.
Right. And more than what the house is worth.
More
So
than what the house
all
is
of
worth.
that. I am going to have you back on to talk about this, because Julie just wrote, what kind of paperwork is needed for LGBTQ folks to make sure their marriages are protected?
I love it, Julie. So one of the good things, I did a seminar, kind of like a DI seminar about, how can lawyers talk to clients who you normally don't run into. And this is something that we talked about. We talked about making sure that your documents are in order, making sure that your will is in order, especially here's the other thing. You want to make sure if there have been changes in terms of maybe your name has changed, maybe there's a dead name, all of that needs to be reflected. So make sure you go to an attorney who specializes in that to make sure all of these things are taken care of, whether it's your insurance, your will. We have a ton of attorneys who are experienced in this. And more importantly, to make sure you leave a legacy for your children.
Yeah. Okay. Every time you come on here, this happens. Listen, when you get off, just reach out to my producer and set up for like 2 weeks from now, please, because there's a lot of questions. Laverne says, wow, because tomorrow is not promised. Is there something that can be done as an alternative for the trust?
Yes. Consult with an attorney, and let's talk about first what you have. I get calls sometimes, people like, I want a trust. And I'm like, all right, what you got? A car. Don't put that in trust. That's silly. No. You might as well have a goldfish. So let's talk about what you have, right? And then let's talk about maybe beneficiary designation. So make sure that your life insurance has the right beneficiaries. If grandma died 10 years ago, she shouldn't be your beneficiary. So let's update your beneficiaries. Let's look at your IRAs. Let's look at your pension. If those all have beneficiaries, that's not part of probate. That's not taxable. So let's take advantage of what we can. Let's talk about whether or not we want to add people to our deed, the benefits, the cons to that. There are a bunch of alternatives, but it's planning, and it's paying for planning.
Yeah.
And we can't plan the day before grandma got to go to the nursing home. We can't plan that day. I just don't. I'm not a miracle worker.
Yeah.
We can't plan the day before she goes.
I hear you.
But there are a number of alternatives in trust. There's Medicaid annuities. There's all kind of plans that you can do.
Yeah.
All kind.
I believe that this is going to help a ton of people. Jennifer says, my grandmother's care was $5,000 per month. It was $500 more per week when she needed palliative care. If a person needs memory care, it can be an additional $2,000 per month. Laverne says, this was very good and helpful. It's a lot going on out here, but I'm glad y'all. Thank you, because this tells me that what we're offering on this platform is very helpful. You're going to have to come back, because I have someone coming on at 7:30. Laura says, so many people do not have their beneficiaries up to date. Child, my husband and I talk about it every year. Okay, who's in the?
When you call Laura to get you call Laura to get all those your insurance and all that in order. There, it's not. We spend more time trying to program the TV to watch our streaming and to make sure that where our shows are. I do that.
Yeah.
But this is. And don't let cost be the issue. I'm going to leave with that. Okay. So even if you don't call me, I'm okay with that. There are so many services out here. There's Senior Law Clinic. There's Philly VIP. There's the Christian Legal Clinics. There's churches. Their state reps are doing wills. The Register of Wills office is trying to get out into the community to talk about this. So don't let, if you don't think you can afford it, don't let that be the option. Don't say I'm not doing it. Reach out to all these organizations, and these folks are doing good work. I've volunteered. I've sit on these boards. These folks are doing really good work. So there's no excuse why you can't have a plan done. There's none.
Yes. Marguerite says, Jesus, could you share with the people that insurance policies do not look at wills to distribute? There must be a beneficiary designation, says this insurance claims professional.
Your insurance company pays out. Their job is to pay out claims. Their job is to not figure out whether or not Peaches is you like her anymore, and they don't care. They pay
Yes.
out what it says. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
what the other documents say. Insurance
Mhm.
is not part of probate. They
Mhm.
follow what you told them. So if your
Mhm.
ex-wife is still listed as a beneficiary on your insurance,
Mhm. Baby,
we're home.
listen, again, you got to
Okay.
come back because
All
that's
right.
a whole nother conversation. And Erica says, thank you, Andrea. This whole morning has been incredible. I've learned so much. Monica says, this information is so needed. Thank you. Thank you. How can people find you?
So I am at andersonlaw.co, not .com.co, and I'm on all the socials. Rhonda McCullough Anderson, Rhonda ESQ. And so go to my website. You can find me. My office number, I'll give it out, 215-874-3893.
Say that
Some
again,
of you
please,
are going
because
to
you spit that out. 215
874-3893.
3893.
Yeah,
Rhonda.
874-3893.
All right. Okay.
All
All
right.
right. Jennifer says we definitely need to get in the habit of doing checks on our important affairs, similar to the yearly habit of checking our credit reports and scores. We're definitely going to have to talk about when marriage is in and people are still on the insurance policy, still on
Absolutely.
the 401k, because we forgot. You were pissed off in the moment, but then, all of a sudden you forgot. Years go by, you get a new boo thing, you married the new boo thing, and then you die, and the ex-wife shows up and says, ah.
And your boo thing is sitting in the back with me as the special friend in the obituary. She's just a special friend, and then wife comes and takes it all. How many times do you think I've seen that?
Hey
Weekly.
B, so you're going to have to come back so we can talk about it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for jumping in at the
Thank
last
you.
second.
Praying for Jamaica
Thank
recovery
you,
and
honey.
thriving. All right, my dear.
Thank you, Daddy. See you later.
Great
Bye
day.
bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. We are ramping up the show, as you can tell. So I don't believe in coming out and just splash. We built the crescendo. It's now a year. We built the crescendo about what you want, what you're expecting, what you want to give. Now I'm going to let Michelle Neal in. This is the after party. After the party, it's the after party. Good morning, my darling.
Good morning, Andrea. How are you?
Girl, I'm going into patois, y'all, for those of you who are, me can't believe so there, sir. I cannot believe the things that I have seen, the
Nope.
devastation in Jamaica. But I cried so till I couldn't. There were no other way. There was no. But she's gonna have to come back in. Laura says thanks. She pressed a button by accident. Typical Jamaican. You're welcome, Julie. She's gonna have to log back in. I don't know what happened to her. Ooh, child. Hold on, y'all, because I have a finite amount of time. Um, and so I'm grateful for those of you who have been on since 6:25. I got on early this morning because I had someone running for Congress, Dr. Carl Morris, who I had never heard of before this morning. I opened up the thing from my producer and learned that he was Jamaican. That's another thing I didn't know. And so, he began talking about solutions, etc., etc. We saw his website, Carl for Congress, KARLFOR Congress, and what I saw, so heartened. I was so heartened by it. And then Tiffany McIntyre, who went to open up her mother's probate, called me, sent me a text and said, girl, you got to get a lawyer back on here. There has been things going on through here in this probate. People don't know what they're talking about. They don't know how to do this. And so my producer reached out to Rhonda, and she came on this morning to talk about wills, probates. Why do we need a will? How do we get into a trust, et cetera, et cetera. So, and now we have Michelle Neal here. What happened? There you are. Michelle, don't touch any buttons.
I'm not. I was gonna move to another room because maybe the Wi-Fi in this room is not good. I'm at the
Okay.
office.
I mean, yeah, you're a little delayed, but that's okay. Let's talk about, tell people
Okay.
what your role is in the Jamaican diaspora.
All right. So good morning, Andrea. Thank you.
Michelle,
So
you're
my
breaking up.
role as-
Michelle, you're breaking up. Can you move to another
all
room
right.
where you think your Wi-Fi might be? Don't touch no buttons now.
I'm going to another room. The Wi-Fi. Talk to
Honey,
you.
we're completely losing you. We're hearing every other word. So can you move to another room? There you go. All right. Now you can talk to me. Let me see what happens here. Where are you, in a bunker? We can't. All right. Okay. All right. Try again.
I'm me lock the door for privacy.
Okay. Okay. We can hear you now. All right, Michelle.
Oh, you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you now. Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about your role in the Jamaican diaspora and why you and I are having this conversation today. What is your role?
Oh, okay. So my role in the diaspora, so Jamaica has chosen three of us to kind of canvass and be representative of the entire United States. And my section is the Northeast. So you do have someone for the South and for the West.
Mhm.
So our job is basically to engage, encourage, and collaborate and be that voice to connect to Jamaica. So any and everything that is happening, you would give me a call and I might not have the answer, but I'll know somebody who knows somebody to provide the answer for you. So I am that bridge between diasporans here and Jamaica.
Right. Thank you for sharing that with them so that they have a solid idea of what your role is. There's elections coming up again soon, but we'll talk about that another day. Let's talk about what happened in the island yesterday and what is needed now. I had conversations with Chris Chaplin, who was our Jamaican Council General here, and I've been beating down his phone. I figured it was time for me to beat down yours. What has been happening in terms of relief for Jamaica?
All right. So you do know that there are devastation everywhere, right? Some areas are hit more than others. So right now, we do have a list of the items that the Jamaican government is asking for.
Mhm.
And you can actually find that list on supportjamaica.gov.jm/needs, and it lists everything that we need. So they're asking for stuff like tarpaulins because a lot of roofs are gone where there's not a lot of electricity. Power is gone. So they're asking for generators,
Okay.
medical supplies, hygiene, all that we are asking for this time. The good thing, Andrea, for Philadelphia, which we are, we have about 8 churches that are willing to be drop off locations for
Mhm.
us. So
Mhm.
that's what we are going to do. The one thing to keep in mind, or many other things, is that everything that we ship from now to December 27th, there's a fee waived, right? So you need to keep that date. Yes, but the
Because
items
it's so
must be on that
expensive.
list.
Okay, okay, hold on, wait. So everything from now until December what?
27th. They gave us 2
27.
months.
They ship it, we
Hmm.
can ship for free.
Yes,
Okay.
there is. So yes, there because we're working with Besco here,
Okay.
which is on Baltimore Avenue. But
Okay.
then once you get to Jamaica, there's other fees. So
Right.
that is waived for 2 months. So that's what you have to keep in mind. They
Okay.
right now, Andrea, they're not asking for food items,
Right.
right? They're not
Okay.
asking for that at this time. So the batteries and the
The
flashlights and
batteries, right.
the
Right.
generators and yeah,
Mhm.
those items are what they're asking for. And as I
Okay.
said, you need an extensive list. It's actually 14 pages long. I will send it to you afterwards of all
Okay.
the things that we need.
Give me the website again where people can go look, the Jamaican website. It is what?
Okay. Support SUPPORT Jamaica dot gov dot jm/needs.
Okay. Okay.
And
So it's
Andrea, if anybody need direct, I can give you my email address too,
yes.
which is ne2 diaspora@gmail.com.
At gmail.com. I just knew you were important to have a conversation with this morning because between you and Chris Chaplin, we know where all the things. Now, I got the list from Dion Poiser for Poiser Ministries, that her and Chris were working through. I put that list up and the links for that. If there are any other places where we can donate, let me know. So I am very aware that we need batteries of all kinds. So we're going to donate that. For those of us who can donate generators, that needs to happen. Do they need water at this point?
Not at this point.
Okay. It seems
Not
to me
yet.
that
And what they're saying, Andrea, is that the list will change
okay,
based on how things are coming in.
okay,
Right. So this is where we are now. But that doesn't mean that within 2, 3 days from now, I will have to come back and give you an updated list, or they can go
okay.
on the
Thank you.
website to find updated
No,
list.
no, you're
But
coming
it's
back on,
basically
please. Come back on, please. so we can continue
Okay.
to have the conversation. I My sister said the same thing. She was like, "We're going to need a lot of batteries, a lot of flashlight, and tarpaulin." Where can we
Yeah.
get tarpaulin from? From
Home
any?
Depot sells them.
Okay,
So if you have a
okay,
contact at Home Depot, that would be good.
okay.
Or, we have set up where people can make financial donation as well to
Yes,
go towards
yes,
that. And
yes.
then by tomorrow, I will have a list of where we want to areas we want to concentrate on first, because it's the West. So we are thinking about St. Elizabeth and
Wait,
Manchester
stop
and
for a second.
Mandeville.
So my sister lives in Mandeville. Saint Elizabeth mash up like crackers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like
Yep.
the hurricane, they said the hurricane came in at 185 miles per hour, unheard of, and there were
Yep.
gusts of 220 miles per hour. When I
Yep.
looked at the things from St. I bust a ball. I cried because I could not understand how anybody survived that. Right? Mandeville, same thing. Their houses, their big old houses are underwater, water up to the
Yep.
roof.
Mm-hmm.
And then it exited to Montego Bay. Now, what's her name? Winsome James is there. Winsome and I
Yes,
were
she's right.
talking.
Uh-huh.
Did you talk to her recently?
This morning.
Thank God.
She's she's doing good, but the hotel has no electricity. So,
Okay.
but she's fine. And the
Okay.
next flight out of Jamaica is starting tomorrow,
Okay.
based on what they're saying, out of Kingston. As you know, Montego Bay is another story. So we
Yes.
don't know when flights are going to be leaving from Montego Bay, but definitely Kingston starting tomorrow, Thursday.
There are 25,000 tourists on the island right now, according to reports. It's going to take a while for people to get out of Jamaica, right? And if
Oh,
you're in, if,
absolutely.
and if you're in the western end of the country, trying to get to Kingston, which is in the eastern end of the country, there's going to be debris, roads blocked off, bridges washed out. So I need you all to pack your patience, please, and thank you.
Mhm,
Pack your patience
mhm,
because it's going to be a while before all of this transpires. And if you are a tourist on the island right now, please, 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 there's not going to be a whole lot of top level accommodations because the islanders are trying to figure out how to navigate through through this devastation. It's in the billions of dollars, literally in the billions of dollars. I don't even know what the
mhm,
tourism industry is going to look like for the time being, but I'm just grateful for life, right? We
mhm.
have not.
Yes.
Have you heard anything about the death toll? Because we've not heard anything about the death toll yet.
No, no, praise God. So I haven't heard anything regarding dead tolls. I'm praying and hoping for the best. So, Andrea, not only is tourism going to be affected, but agriculture as
Sure.
well. So later on, we will need individuals who are linemen for with help with Jamaica Public Service, or if
Mhm.
you're in construction, we will need you. And we do have, one thing we are very good at is medical and teachers. We seem to produce
10,000
doctors and
nurses and
nurses
yes, 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 yes.
like no other island, right?
Hmm.
And so eventually we will need nurses and doctors. But the gentleman that's not the gentleman, the doctor that is coordinating that, his name is Dr. Gary Rule. So he's the one that you would need to look to seek out to determine when and where they'll be sending people to Jamaica. Because we want to make sure this time, Andrea, we are not giving people what they don't need.
Want.
So
I
we
know.
are waiting for the ask.
Okay.
We are
Okay.
waiting for the ask. But in the meanwhile, we are gathering the items and we want to take advantage of this 2 months of free. The fees are waived for 2 months. So we are trying to get everything all out of the United States by
Yes.
now and December 27th.
Okay.
Mhm.
You're a plethora of great information. If people want to volunteer, because my American friends are asking, where can we volunteer? And where are the volunteer hubs? Do you know where any of them are right now?
No, we haven't started that because we are just collecting items, and then when we're
Yeah.
ready to pack to ship, that's when I would love for you to tell people, or they can send me their information and I'll put their name on
Hmm.
my a sheet.
Hmm.
What's the word I'm looking for? A spreadsheet, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Their names, and as soon as we need, we can call. So
Yeah.
my email address is there. Please share it.
So it's
Call me, email me anytime.
It's NE2 diaspora, DISAPORA at gmail.com, correct?
That is correct.
Okay,
Yes.
Roslyn, the death toll of 3 happened before the hurricane hit. Those were people who were trying to secure their homes when they either fell off ladders or something hit them in the head. One person was electrocuted while trying
Uh-huh.
to fortify their home. So that's Julie said she saw 7 deaths. We'll figure it out. We will absolutely
Uh-huh.
figure it out. But Jamaicans will. A great deal of them went up to higher ground. They understood how
Uh-huh.
dangerous this was, and so I think the death toll is going to be. I'm praying because those fishermen
Right.
in Port Royal, since it never really hit over there,
Uh-huh.
maybe they're okay, but it hit the entire island, right?
Uh-huh.
So we'll see. We'll work through that piece. Michelle, I'm begging you for the next 2 to 3 weeks. I'd like you on once a week, just so you can
Okay.
update, right, and
Okay.
tell the people what to happen. So it's supportjamaica.gov.jm/needs,
That is
NEED.
correct.
Right. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And is there a phone number where people? No, I'm not giving no, please, because people will be calling. You will not be able to get any work done. I want to thank you and Chris and everybody else that have stepped up to make sure that we are okay. I put the links up that Dion and Chris sent a couple of days ago. People have been donating, so that's great. On behalf of our uh yes, NE2 diaspora. Yes, Julie at gmail.com. Yes. NE2 diaspora. So you can volunteer. So you can sign up to volunteer. And when they need the volunteers, then you'll start to get the emails saying we're ready for you. Right now, they're looking for batteries. I don't care a, triple A, double A, D, C, all the batteries you can think of. Donate as many as you can, and they need generators and tarpaulin. And the country is in dire shape at this point. And
Uh-huh.
so,
Uh-huh.
Michelle, thank you so much. This has been a
You're
long
welcome.
show today, child. I've been on here since 6:25. Well, thank you for being our after party this
Uh-huh.
today, and we will talk more. If you have, as you have more updates, you can always reach out to me, and you can come on
Yeah.
as much as you'd like to. Okay, and
Okay. Will do.
if you can find Dr. Gary Rule, because we'll need him too.
Uh-huh.
To your point, Jamaicans have a lot of doctors and nurses here, and scientists across the
Uh-huh.
diaspora in the United States, and they're willing to go and work and help. There's also a lot of carpenters here, like people who are really good
Uh-huh.
with their hands, and plumbers, etc. So let's get them activated, get them on planes to
Uh-huh.
go to the island and to do what they can
Uh-huh.
do to help each other. I love you, my sister. Thank
I
you.
love you
I
too.
really
Hmm.
appreciate this. Okay.
You're welcome anytime.
All right. Bye-bye.
Woo.
Y'all, it's I thank you. Thank you all so much. We are working to continue to curate the spaces. I got to get off of this place, this platform, because I have things to do today. To those of you who are continuing to call and text, I see your calls and your text messages. The reason I am not responding is because I am literally in real time with folks in Jamaica and really having dialogue with them and helping them, talking through them if they want. Jamaicans have a thing where when they're upset or dealing with a bunch of stuff, they use humor. So you just try to spend as much time as you can to talk, so that they don't focus and concentrate on the destruction that is right outside of their doors. So thank you all. Marguerite said, I forgot about the after party. It's all right, honey. We try to keep it going, but we're going to keep doing the after party, because sometimes, we have guests that we want to have you guys on. Monica says, breathe. Monica, let me tell you something. I can't even describe to you what I was going through yesterday. I posted like 7, 8 hours in about the destruction, and then I got off social media again because I was really focused on what do we need to do. Family members, thank you, Janelle. I'll let you know for anybody who'd like to volunteer to sort things, because we have a 2-month window. Packing barrels to send to the island is one thing. The cost for having them come out of customs is another. They're waiving the fees for customs for 2 months until December 27th. So when we call and say we need volunteers to help pack the things to get them sent in, please show up. Please, please, please. I know we tend to go on to the next thing 5 seconds later because, all the things, but please. just we do. And then Cuba is going to need help because it left Jamaica and then went to Cuba as a Category 4 storm. Now Cuba is a little different. I don't know how, because of the way their government is set up, how they can get help, but we'll figure that out, right? And then it went up into the ocean. For those of you who have been paying attention, 5 more homes dropped in North Carolina in the Outer Banks yesterday. The ocean is not playing. And I'm telling you, even though that hurricane is not going anywhere near North Carolina, Outer Banks, the water, the waves and the water. And so the houses are dropping like flies in North Carolina too. So go there if you live anywhere in the Outer Banks, if you want to support. It's going to take, we're in a time right now where it's going to take all of us, all of our resources. I promise you, right? Pray for my mental health. Because it's not just Jamaica, it's all the things. And I'm trying to cover the news the best way I know how to. And the folks are calling about being hungry and losing their jobs and everything that's going on at one time. I'm grateful to each and every one of you that have consistently stepped in the gap to make sure we have what we need. But yo, I'm being real transparent and telling you this is not easy. So yeah. This episode of Mornings with Mother is officially over. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.